I've always collected Pokemon cards. I have a very vivid memory of me sobbing on the bus because the kids on the bus kept giving me Pokemon cards to make me stop crying. Chumps, I took advantage of your kindness for Pokemon cards, and I'm not sorry. Anyway, in my recent move to my current house, I still can't find out my beat up binder of Pokemon cards. So, with a heavy heart, I have to start a new collection. But it's not as socially acceptable to spend as much money on collecting Pokemon cards with your paycheck when you're an adult versus when you're a kid pocketing your lunch money for cards that you don't know how to play the game of. Unless you use it for content. I had seen people posting their fusions from the fan game Pokemon Infinite Fusions, and it reminded me of how cool the idea of Pokefusions are, so I took my stab at challenging myself to make some fusions as well. So I am doing a challenge. I bought a booster pack and I had a friend take out the trainer and energy cards. I had them shuffle the deck, and then I paired them up 2 to 2 together to make some Pokefusions to draw them for a video. A lot of the pairings I got, when I opened them, all the joy was sucked out of me like a Capri Sun. But I think despite my initial thoughts, I'm actually happy with most of these. So, without stalling for more watch time, here's the video. Alright, my pal has separated the cards for me from trainer cards, and I tried my best to shuffle. And whatever Pokemon are paired together, that'll be what I fused. So first up, we have Steenie and Lyron. Oh god. At first I had a difficult time thinking of an idea for this one. For a lot of these, I worry that when it comes to fusion, it ends up just taking on too many elements of one Pokemon to be an even split fusion. Like, making it a quadruped could make it lean towards Lairon, making it bipedal makes it look like Steenie. Like, at what point does it look like a fusion versus just a recolor with new accessories? When I saw the little leafy pointy thing on top of Steenie's little bangs, it reminded me of the bone shape that Lairon has on its helmet armor, so I thought about turning the helmet into a Twin Tails hairpiece. I thought that could be interesting. I decided to add this sort of leaf thing at the top so that I could add the green from Steenie, so the design was not just grays, whites, and pinks. Instead of the little twig arms, I gave the big Lairon arms because I think it's really funny when characters are super buff on top, but they definitely skipped leg day. I added these little claws on the legs as well, so it wasn't just Steenie legs. Instead of the petals on Steenie's skirt, I added this like armor skirt, and then the shell armor that Lairon has, I added as these like decoration accessories on the side that I took inspiration from like Black Rock Shooter. Anyway, this is Larry, a good start off to this challenge. I think this one is honestly my favorite. Next we have Cutiefly and Palpitoad. Alright, again, bulky design and twiggy design. Not only is that a struggle, but you're giving me Palpitoad. Okay, I leaned more into the body type of Palpitoad for the silhouette instead of like leaning towards the Cutiefly. I went with a bug mode with these little water orbs that Palpitoad has on the forehead to make the Cutiefly heads as the eyes. It's horrifying. It's not good. The lower water droplets I turned black to incorporate Cutiefly's long black legs, and I gave Palpitoad 4 feet instead of 2 to lean into the bug effect as well. I gave it 2 of the Palpitoad tails, but gave them Cutiefly's wing design, and I gave it the Cutiefly little fluff collar thing. And you know, he's ugly. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it, but he's very funny, and his goofy nature is very endearing to me despite how ugly he is. He's not enjoyable as Larry, but you know, Cutie Toad, he's got something for him. Next we have Joltik and Seedot. This one's good. I like this one. I don't have much to say about this one. Joltik and Seedot both have somewhat simple designs, which makes it not as difficult to fuse, but again, where's the line of fusion versus goofy recolor with new accessories? It made me realize that I'm actually having more fun with the more difficult ones that may look a bit ugly. It pushed me a bit more. I started off by using the shape of the Seedot, and I kind of just made it fuzzier and added some legs. I kept the eye shape of the Seedot, but just added more for the spider thing, and then I merged the colors together. And to utilize Seedot's hat, instead of using it as a hat, I turn it into a shell over the back. It's a cute design. I don't think I have too much more to say about it. Joltot, he's a funny little guy. Next we have Applin and Kakuna. Okay. You know, I chose a very interesting TCG booster pack, and I am a very unfortunate soul. But you know, this is indeed a challenge, so I guess making it difficult for me to think of anything is the key. And despite my thoughts about this, is another one of my favorite ones, despite the fact I thought I was going to have a terrible time with it. So I try not to make it look like a Dr. Frankenstein put Applin's head on a Kakuna's body, so I left these like leaves to simulate Kakuna's armor. And instead of a red apple, I used a golden delicious apple to bring in Kakuna's colors. And the armor below the leaves is like red from Applin. I made the eyes leaves bigger and a bit sharper and gave it more angled eyes, and then I gave Applin's little leaf tail, and I don't think he looks the worst. I definitely think he looks pretty well fused. It's another one of those both have simple designs, so what truly am I supposed to make out of this? But at the end of the day, I think he's still visually interesting. Maybe I can call him like Cacklin. Next we have something water. Swoobat and Whalmer. Interesting? Interessante? I was excited for this one. Considering Woobat has a similar body type to Whalmer, it felt like an easy sweep. So you just de-evolve Swoobat and make it a fish. I gave it the hollow eyes, and I kind of just made the mouth come out of the fluff to give a bit of a similar energy to the Whalmer's mouth coming out of the bottom lip. I turned the little arm wings that the Swoobat has into Whalmer's flippers. I did a mix of their teeth because I thought it fit, and I moved up the Swoobat nose as if it was going to be the two little blowhole nostrils that Whalmer has, and the wings and ears I kept the same. I used both of their blues for the design as well. I don't hate it. It definitely looks like a Swoobat Whalmer fusion. I'll call him Swoomer, I think. Next we have Tailo and Weedle. I got like the most interesting booster pack, I think. I was so devastated by this one when I flipped the cards, because there's definitely a lot of potential for Tailo, but Weedle is what brought me fear. However, the ones that spark fear can, in theory, lead to something pretty creative, right? So let's see if our little early bird gets the worm. You get it? So Weedle is a worm and Tailo is a bird. I think usually Tailo would probably try to eat the worm, but they must produce a forbidden offspring in this scenario. So how do I fuse a worm and a bird? I turned the first few ball parts of the Weedle to match the color patterns of Tailo, and when the tail stinger split in two to make them longer and also represent Tailo's bird feathers, I turned Weedle's nose into this little nostril thing that pigeons have on at the top of the beak, and I made marking on Tailo's head a little bit longer and put Weedle's head spike out of it. I gotta be honest, despite my best efforts, I don't like it. I don't know what I could have done to fix it, but it is okay because we cannot always take W's. This is Weedlo. We have Deerling and Aron. They're the brothers! Both are quadrupeds, a delight. This one came easy to me, but also I had a lot of fun creatively. I liked the idea of making an armored, decked out deer. I shaped the armor to mimic the fur pattern of the Deerling, and I added Aron's under armor as like a front half sleeve armor thing. I realized that the head armor is kind of looking like a bicycle helmet, and that's okay, it adds character, it makes it look funny. I think the colors surprisingly go well together, and it doesn't feel like I'm struggling to incorporate all aspect of the two characters. Both the designs are simple, but they're not simple to the point where they're not enough to merge together, but they're not too similar in their simplicity. I will say initially, before I started drawing them all, I thought this one was going to be my favorite, and it's not bad, but Larry still wins the battle of I'm happy with this design. Even so, I think this design still goes hard. I also included variants for the seasons, and boom, here it is, D-Ron. That was all of my Pokemon fusions for this video. I'm sure there are things to be said about some of them, and I promise you I would agree, but I challenged myself creatively, and for the creativity aspect, I at least had some fun making these monstrosities. I know this isn't an animated video, and I have been trying to work on more animated content, but unfortunately, it takes me a while to make them, so I figured adding a few speed paints or art challenges here or there would be nice. Either I add the occasional quote-unquote lazier video, or I disappear for 9 years to make an animation. So I hope you guys understand. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed. See you next time.